Hey everybody, and welcome to another coaster modification tutorial. It's been a while since one of these tutorial videos, and in this one I thought we'd work on Tree Topper from the Ivory Towers scenario. Now in the RCT 1 version of the scenario, which you can also access using OpenRCT 2, the ride Tree Topper is the Steel Mini or Junior Coaster. But in RCT Classic, due to the slight rejigging of the coaster types and lack of steep slope sprites for the Junior Coaster, it had a completely different layout to the RCT 1 version altogether. In this video, we'll be focusing on the original Steel Mini RCT1 layout. The coaster layout you start with is actually pretty good. It has decent stats and overall just a pretty interesting design. Some things I'm not so keen on are the second lift hill, the last section over the station platform, and its generally large overall footprint. Leaving this coaster as it is perfectly fine. In fact, in scenario play, I'd even encourage you to leave it as it is to start with, as there are much bigger problems to attend to in the park when you first start out, so I recommend getting some financial stability before making any changes to this coaster. The modifications I'll show you today are more about increasing its practicality and aesthetics, but they also come with a slight improvement to the stats and a small reduction in ride time leading to higher throughput and profit. The first thing we'll do is remove the second half of the layout. Getting rid of the sprawling section around the second lift hill opens up this whole area for other rides, potentially even a small coaster. Instead of heading out that way again, we'll replace the section with a swooping turn over the path that runs by the lake. This fills out a bit of the awkward space on the slope down to the water, and also provides a pretty cool bit of path interaction. We can then head back inland and do a few more left-right sweeping turn combinations, including a nice head chopper moment for the first big drop. I find it more satisfying putting the additional track in this area, as I think it makes better use of the space here, which isn't particularly flat ride friendly. There's definitely a few ways you could have gone about this, but I quite like the way this section of the layout looks. To get back to the station, the original layout went back over the top, and then had a small drop followed by the final turnaround. Instead of going over the station, I suggest a small underground section, followed by a sweeping turn back up into the final turnaround and into the station. This improves two things. One, there's now space for a path around the side of the coaster, which enables you to create a nice pathing loop and eliminating the troublesome dead end. Two, with the track now going underneath the station, it actually goes towards ensuring a second lift hill isn't required, as we don't need to head over the top of the hill and station anymore. That's it in terms of the new layout. As I mentioned earlier, it's definitely more about improving practicality through improved space efficiency, and I think making the layout more interesting with better path interaction and a few knotted elements. This revised layout, with no added trees or pathing, even gives an improved excitement rating, as well as a shorter ride time, both contributing towards potentially higher profits. If you want to go all out in terms of scenery and decorations, you can add more trees and shrubs, mix up surface textures, and even add a small pond underneath. Here's an example of how it could look in a completed park, noting the footpath around the side of the station platform, as well as a separate coaster in the space we freed up with the redesign. Something pretty important to note is that modifying a coaster that's already been opened can be pretty pricey, as the value of the pieces you delete or sell lose value pretty quickly over time, so just be careful not to go back and forth too much when redesigning the layout, because you can lose a lot of cash. The total cost of the redesign plus the tunnel section was about $2,000. It gave us a slight boost to the ratings, even with no added scenery or pathing to what was originally there, and there's also a slight reduction in ride time. So both these features should ensure you make most of your money back over the course of the scenario. It was, however, mainly the practicality and aesthetics that I was aiming to improve here. And with this, I would probably recommend that these layout changes be considered once the park is up and running smoothly, and you have a few other profitable rides going. Even if you've already finished Ivory Towers, I hope you got something out of this tutorial and can implement some of these methods in your own coaster designs, as well as maybe some of the pre-built rides in the game. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers! A couple months ago I had a really interesting suggestion from a user who suggested I could do a series where people send in custom coasters they make and I either tweak them or decorate them. I'd really like to know if this is something others are interested in. If so, please get back to me in the comments, and if enough people are interested, I might ask for some volunteers to send in a design to kick things off. Thanks again, and hopefully see you next time. Cheers!